Small Axe, the fourth installment, Alex Wheatle, the shortest installment of the
Yes.
series, only about an hour long. Um, Dave, we talked about the first three, praised them all, felt like they were all really good. Did that continue with Alex Wheatle for you?
I'd say Alex Wheatle's my least favorite of the three we've seen so far. Doesn't make it bad, but it's also the one that I think struggles with its form the most. As you said, it's barely over an hour long. The most episodic of the anthology films that we've been getting from Steve McQueen. And I would say that Alex Wheatle kind of leaves you with a question with eyebrow raised about the second half of this story. Because in doing research, or if you know going in, Alex Wheatle, successful writer and creator in his adult life, like a lot of, I guess, like Red, White, and Blue. We don't get the Leroy Logan turning the police department around and having some successes, relatively speaking. In Alex Wheatle, we don't see Alex Wheatle's uh, actual like growth and changes in his life come to fruition. We just kind of get those seeds planted when we see him reading in prison and stuff.
Mhm.
So to me, it was like, I don't know if this one did anything that different from Red, White, and Blue or Mangrove to me. Like, you have the small scale stuff of Red, White, and Blue. You have the direct conflict with the police, like Mangrove. You have a lot of things we have seen already from Small Axe, but I don't know if this one resonated with me just as much. But I still liked it. I thought, I don't know, how do you say the lead actor's name? Shay Cole.
Yep.
Um, this is his first role. I thought he was quite good as Alex.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. It's a I think there's a lot to get into with this role, right? But it's a probably a tough one to play because it's a lot of suffering in silence, looking very uncomfortable, anxious, out of place a lot of the time because Alex Wheatle's story is he was in what it was an orphanage or a foster home type setting that he gets kind of sent out of. Um, and for facing racism is kind of what led to this, right? He's taunted at school, gets in trouble, gets sent away, and it kind of shows the story about how he is like this lost person who doesn't understand who he is and is
Yeah.
looking for anything to kind of tell him, gravitate towards music. Then is incarcerated in the Brixton riots, where he's then kind of forced to face like that question of like identity and how he kind of comes to find it in literature and understanding his own history, his own background. It ends with him finally exploring it. And I think the point of this story a little bit more, to kind of juxtapose against Red, White, and Blue, which I feel like is a bit more about like perseverance and making the hard choice, even when it seems like everybody's turning their back on you, including your community, when you know this is kind of going to benefit them in the long run, is that uh, understanding of self and understanding of history and past and um, the systems you come from is the only way that you can truly understand you and become the person you're meant to be. And Alex Wheatle goes on to be a very successful writer. So I think the story could have used some more time on the back end to kind of let things breathe and maybe come to a bit more of a impactful conclusion. But overall, I think this is still pretty quality from McQueen.
Yeah, I think to that identity point, the line that stood out to me was when the barber is
Hmm.
talking to him and like Alex is first kind of being shown the ropes of his new community. And he asked him about being African.
Hmm.
And he's like, well, yeah, I may be black, but I'm from Surrey,
Hmm.
And it's like the question of, well, what does it mean to be black in Britain in
Yeah.
the 80s or late 70s? I forget exactly when that was at that point, but like, that is a resonant thing. And like, again, like the identity and the gray nature to a lot of that West Indian black experience in England has been a consistent theme
Hmm.
throughout Small Axe. You think of Leroy Logan's very conservative father right? You think of the restaurant owner from Mangrove, who's not all rah rah about the Black Panthers, like Letitia Wright's character, right? That's been a consistent theme. Um, and I think that's probably the strongest stuff in Alex Wheatle. Again, is the coming to terms with identity and what that means at the time.
For sure. Um, you know, even the bad, or the bad quote unquote, the less good episodes or films in this series are still really quality and really compelling to watch. So tune in if you haven't been. We have the final one next week. We'll be talking about, then giving our final thoughts on the series slash
Mhm.
final film, however we want to go about it. But
Prospect.